If you're worried about this market and you want to learn some more and know how to survive, you need to watch these 5 points and the awesome example at the end in terms of why this is happening in the market. This is huge. You gotta see this video about the real estate market and the crash. Today we're talking about a potential real estate crash and 5 things you should do to prepare. Tuesday, I posted a video about the likelihood and what I'm feeling in the market that the real estate market is going to crash. The bottom line is, the real estate market hit a wall in Southern California and especially sensitive counties like Ventura County, which can often be the bellwether for bad things to come in states that are otherwise having hot real estate markets. One thing that was extremely incredible was, first of all, the outpouring of support that came in the YouTube comments, but also the amount of folks saying, hey, maybe this is a good opportunity, that prices have been inflated for too long, and now maybe they'll finally become a buy opportunity again. And unfortunately, that sentiment has been exactly what we've been seeing in the buying market of real estate. Buyers just don't want to buy right now. That's a problem for new construction developers like this, which I talked a lot about in my last video. But let's get into the 5 things that you should really be thinking about if the market is going to crash. And leave me some comments below because this is really a developing topic. Not a lot of areas are experiencing this yet, but I hate to say it, I think it's to come, and you should prepare yourselves. Folks, number 1 thing you should not be doing is do not engage in anything speculative at this point. That means if you're thinking about getting into real estate flipping, don't. If you're thinking about something that you could just buy and hold for a little bit and you'll be able to turn it for a profit in a year, don't. Do not do anything speculative at this point. Any of those ideas, table them and instead hoard cash. That is the big number 1 takeaway that you should really start thinking about early. You do not want to get caught with your pants down. And that was a 2007 and 8 reference where a lot of folks were doing flips and got caught with their pants down with multiple speculative investments going on at a time. They lost everything. Come on, they got my shoes all dusty. What the heck? Look at this. Oh my God. Number 2, if you need to buy, you need to ask yourself, are you subject to the whims of the real estate market? Myself being a real estate broker and Lauren being a property manager, designer, stager, and basically having everything to do with the real estate market, doesn't do too well if the market also doesn't do too well. That is, if the market goes down, our income tends to go down. So for us, as much as we really want to buy a new house right now and we already have it picked out, we love the house, probably ain't gonna do it because that would be a bad idea. Right now is not the time to increase our expenditures. If anything, right now is the time to decrease our expenditures. But what if you're in a position where maybe you have a job that isn't necessarily that subject to the real estate market? Well, maybe then it'll be okay to buy. But what you should really heed the advice that you want to find something that you know you could probably rent out for at least what your payment is. Say you had to move locations or you had a job loss because let's say your company went out of business. But I would also recommend discounting that rent by 10 to 20% and hopefully still then you have a break even to where you know you can always make that mortgage payment even if you had to make some repairs, pay a property manager, or had a little bit of vacancy, say your tenant lost their job or something crazy happened.
Oh, it's windy now, tell. Ow.
Model tour? Why doesn't it say to meet Kevin? I mean, come on. Look, I love model homes. I love real estate. I love everything about houses, construction. Lou, it's super fun. I especially love that I could just walk in and look at these beautiful properties. It's super awesome. But be careful, it might not be the right time now to make a jump or make a transition, especially if you don't have to. So number 2, you might hold tight. Most important, if you're in a market sensitive position, like a real estate broker in a real estate crash. Quick bonus to this one, in addition to that, if you are gonna buy, be very careful with any kind of loan that has a balloon payment. That took out a lot of people in the last recession. A balloon payment is basically when, instead of having a fully amortized loan, which at the end of 30 years or 15 years is completely paid off, and you just make the same payment every single month, a balloon payment is a kind of loan that is usually a subprime style of loan, where say you make your payments, every single month, the same payment for 2 or 3 years, and then the bank says, now you owe us everything. Usually these balloon payments, actually almost always these balloon payments are disclosed up front, but I would recommend not getting any kind of substandard subprime loan like that, especially at a time like this. Number 3, be very careful of business expansion right now. Look, Grant Cardone always tells us, spend, 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 do not save money. Borrow some money and go spend and grow your business, because if people don't know about your business, then don't be surprised as to why they're not using you. Well, right now might not be the time to plan some massive expansions. And unfortunately, that's kind of hitting home because that's kind of exactly what I was hoping to do. And now I kind of have to hit the brakes, because the last thing you want to do is lose the investments or risk the investments that you've already built because you're trying to be aggressive and grow your business.
Bad idea.
Number 4, if for whatever reason you need to sell right now, then you need to price ahead of the running deer. Picture this. Deer is running like this, and this happens to be the direction of the market falling. The last thing you want to do is say, well, I think the comps are right here, and my house is awesome. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. Nobody likes this house like I do. Oh, wait. That's exactly right. Nobody likes this house like I do. Well, I'm going to price it right here because everybody's stupid. This house has value in it. I'm pricing it here. Well, if the deer is running this way, you're never going to sell. And in the meantime, the prices are going to keep going down and down and down. And instead, you should really be the guy that's like, I'm going to price it right over here. I don't care if I leave a little bit of money on the table. I just want to get out of this. That way, when the deer comes your way, or before the deer comes your way, you're out of there and that thing's sold. You don't want to be the person that's being the dum-dum who has to sell and is leaving the property priced too high in a depreciating market. Shoot ahead of the running deer. Or the weird running man wearing a maroon suit. And no tie today. And no fedora today! Number 5, pay off debt, save, save, save. I'm serious about this. Save money. As tempted as you are to buy a new house or a solar system for your house or a new Tesla Model X or a new maroon suit, don't do it. Listen to me. Take it from me. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. Pay off the credit cards. Pay off any kind of credit lines that you have. And you should almost do it in this order. And this sounds crazy, but this is strategic. This is what I'm doing right now. I'm paying off my home equity line first, because I want my house to be safe.
And then I'll pay off my business lines of credit.
Here's a big argument that I'm hearing from the real estate community right now is, oh, of course sales volume is down, inventory is down. Why wouldn't sales volume be down? That's completely natural. Don't work that way. Bottom line is, folks are not interested in putting their houses on the market right now because it's significantly more expensive for them to get into an upgrade property. Most people don't move because they die or inherit a property or something. They move because they want to. They move because they want an upgrade in their standard of living. They want to move from a single story to a 2-story that has twice the square footage and more bedrooms for their children, or is in a higher or more desirable neighborhood. Or they move from a 2-story to a single story, but generally they want to go up in quality. And here's the bottom line. For every 1 to 1.5% of an interest rate increase on, say, a $550,000 loan, somebody has to pay $300 to $450 more simply because maybe they had a 3.25% interest rate or 3.5% interest rate, and now for whatever they buy, they'd be looking at 4.75 or 5%. That's because you can't take the rate you had on your first loan and transfer it over to your next house. Hey, just a Lauren cameo here. Lauren's gonna add a little bit of clarity on exactly what I mean by this. So Lauren, you had a good analogy. What were you thinking?
Yeah, when Kevin was talking to me about it, I was saying that would kind of be the same as if our current house, say this existed, another house that was exactly the same in our neighborhood, same upgrades, same everything, was for sale. If we, for whatever reason, wanted to leave our current house and move to that same exact house in a different location in the neighborhood, right out of the gate, it'd be $450 more expensive.
Exactly. So not even considering selling costs, not considering the fact that we have to pay for movers or anything. For us to literally move from the same exact house to another same exact model match house costs us $450 more. So for us to actually upgrade our living standard right now, because of the increase in interest rates, we're $450 in the hole before we get anything new.
Yeah, why would anyone actually do that too? Why would you move your current house to another house that's literally the same? Everybody, when they move, ideally wants to upgrade.
Exactly. So you start at negative $450, and then I'll add to that what you're upgrading. So now we want to move to, say, a house that costs us another $75,000, so we actually upgrade our living situation, which is the whole point of moving in the first place. Now we're looking at the baseline $450 plus the $450 it's going to cost us to finance that extra $75,000. Now all of a sudden it's costing us $900 a month just to go up in value $75,000. It doesn't make sense. The numbers just don't add up right now. It makes much more sense to stay put. That's why people aren't putting houses on the market, and that's why the discretionary movers ain't moving, and why inventory's low.
Yeah, so it's the people that are forced to move have their listings right now.
That's it. So you ask yourself, why is inventory low? Because people are doing the math. People are realizing it doesn't make sense to make a transition right now. As a result, sales volume is down. If it made sense to move, people would move, properties would sell quickly, and the market wouldn't be showing a decline in sales. So a decline in sales is huge when it comes to predicting what's going to happen. As more and more buyers pick up on this, unfortunately, prices are going to adjust. And the bottom line too is a lot of folks who own houses who would consider selling might not be considering selling right now, primarily because they don't want to be a buyer and have the lack of choices and the higher rates like I just exemplified.